Hi everyone. With my group mates David, Dion, Gabriel, Michelle, Ensit, and myself, Brendan, today we'll be discussing Great Lakes Brewing Company, or what we will refer to as GLBC. GLBC is a community-focused craft beer manufacturer in Cleveland, Ohio, and is also known as the founder of the craft beer scene in Cleveland and the surrounding area. They're known as the founder due to their upbringing by the Conway brothers in 1986 and their continued investment into the community since inception. In early stages, the Conway brothers developed a unique 7-barrel brewing system, which we'll talk about in our urban analysis, and a love for preserving the environment. Their core values of developing superior beers and saving the environment continue to ring true to today as they opened their largest urban farm in the United States, whilst ranking as a top 50 SME in the United States. But as the COVID-19 pandemic hit and dining restrictions eventually caused the closure of their brew pub, GLBC looks to rebound to their pre-pandemic levels. To give a better picture of what GLBC can offer, we divvied their products into 3 main sections. Their brick and mortar section, which is also known as a brew pub, GLBC offers a consistent array of beers, freshly made food, and a tight-knit community ambiance that anyone can enjoy. As GLBC grew, they began to move their products onto the shelves of retailers such as Target, Walmart, and Kroger, so consumers can enjoy their products at home through their warehouse distribution channels. Then moving to their seasonal items such as their Christmas ale or new agave twist ranch water, just shows their constant innovation and ambition to improve their products. Then for the rest of our presentation, my group mates will continue to discuss our Porter's 5 Forces analysis and analysis into the powers of the industry, our analysis into the resources GLBC currently utilizes and their competitive edge, and offer our strategic solutions to get GLBC back on top as one of the best breweries around.
Buyers are defined as distributors and end consumers. For end consumers, negotiating leverage is low given their lack of concentration, which prevents them from colluding to demand deep discounts. For distributors, despite there being several key players who buy their beer in large quantities, the overall negotiating leverage is low given their need to protect their long-term partnerships and also the fact that they need to stock a wide variety of beers to stay competitive. It is also unlikely for distributors to integrate backwards as craft beer is a very specialized process and overall the bargaining power of buyers is low. There is also a low threat of entry in the industry given high barriers to entry in the form of investments in machinery and other production equipment. Furthermore, governmental requirements can cause considerable financial costs, and these include quality certificates, adhering to sustainability guidelines, and also getting licenses for selling alcohol. Next, the impact of COVID also cannot be ignored. During the pandemic, consumers turned to reliable brands to consume at home, and craft beer sales struggled due to the on-premise restrictions. It's also challenging and time-consuming to source for a master brewer, who is essential to create a unique taste that appeals to consumers. Thus, entering the beer industry is a very complex and costly process, which deters new entrants in this industry. Next, for the rivalry among existing competitors, prior to the pandemic, the craft beer market was already somewhat saturated. As you can see from the graph on the right, there was a steady increase in the breweries in the US, driven by the surge in craft beer demand. Next, the second graph also shows that Molson Coors and AB InBev are dominant players and they have a combined market share of around 65% every year. And this leaves a very small share for the other breweries to fight for. So if we have an increasing number of breweries fighting for the same piece of the pie, which is getting smaller every year, this will undoubtedly cause increased competition. And overall, we feel that the rivalry among existing competitors poses a very high threat.
We find that overall supplier power is high due to high supply concentration, switching costs, and lack of substitutes. Firstly, our raw material suppliers on the left here are for barley, wheat, and hops, the 3 key ingredients for beer. We find that supplier concentration is high despite there being a large number of local producers because of poor harvest conditions this year. Switching costs are also high because brewers prefer local sourcing for lower transport prices, and prices have increased sharply given the Russia-Ukraine conflict, who represent 30% of global wheat and barley supply. On the right, breweries source aluminum from packaging material suppliers. The concentration is also very high here behind surging demand. For example, many beverage companies pivoted to selling canned products when the pandemic hit to make up for lost in-store dining revenue. These suppliers also serve many different industries, and there are no cost-effective substitutes for aluminum. Because of this, we conclude that supplier power in this industry is high. The threat of substitutes is also high given low switching costs and the increasing appeal of substitutes. For craft beer, we define the main group of substitutes to be other alcoholic drinks like regular beer, non-alcoholic drinks like non-alcohol beer, and legalized recreational drugs. For example, seltzers have increased massively in popularity as an alternative to beers. Large imported beer brands like Heineken have also benefited from customers preferring reliable brands during the pandemic. The US non-alcohol drink segment also saw huge growth this year by appealing to health-conscious young adults. The growing adoption of legalized recreational cannabis by major beer drinking demographics has also caused demand for beer to decline by 15%. Because of this, we conclude that the threat of substitutes is high for US craft beer. These forces provide a view on the root causes of GLBC's current challenge, which is a decline in market share and profitability. To counter these forces, we'll now recommend solutions based on a RIN analysis of GLBC's internal resources.
So now we'll be using the RIN analysis to understand GLBC's internal resources. In total, we have identified 8 different resources within GLBC that we can analyze for their RINness. First, their 7-barrel brewing system is essential and uniquely configured for GLBC to produce their specialized beer products. Their innovation capabilities also allow them to repurpose their byproducts into other sellable products to expand their product lines. And these capabilities also allow them to develop new flavors and brews to proactively appeal to the changes in customers' tastes and preferences in the industry. Their tap room operates in buildings with historical significance that can give customers a unique dining experience that is challenging for competitors to replicate. And given its size of operations, we also foresee GLBC leveraging on manufacturing analytics to scale their production should they need to expand their operations without compromising on their product quality. GLBC also locally sources their ingredients from farms in the state, and this helps them support local farmers while building this strong relationship with them, and the farmers will be more dependent on GLBC for their earnings. GLBC also creates an immersive experience for customers to learn and appreciate the art of craft beer brewing. The company has classes and tours for their breweries for customers to understand the value behind the products and processes. For GLBC's leadership and vision, they are focused on achieving 3 bottom-line performance consisting of financial, social, and environmental sustainability in their business model. And lastly, GLBC has a strong brand equity by participating and sponsoring several festivals and sports teams. So after analyzing the RINness of the 8 resources identified earlier, we have narrowed down to the following 3. We find that innovation capabilities and taproom buildings are their sustainable competitive advantages, and that they have a competitive parity for customer experience initiatives. So Dion and Ensu will now recommend solutions for GLBC which can utilize these RIN resources to reduce its dependencies on other stakeholders to counter the decline in market share and profitability.
Ensu and I will now take you through our recommendations. From our RIN analysis, we identified that GLBC's innovation potential and taproom building can provide it with sustainable competitive advantages. For its innovation potential, GLBC should exploit this by constantly identifying customers' wants, even before customers know what they want. For its taproom building, GLBC can exploit it by providing tours of the historical site. Currently, GLBC provides tours of its brewery, but we believe that providing tours of the historical site can be complemented, emphasizing the history of the company and location. In addition, GLBC should also market the bar as a one-of-a-kind experience for customers. With its unique history and location, GLBC should exploit this by touting to be able to provide customers a Victorian-era ambience aligned with the location's history. Our RIN analysis was used to reduce the high forces that we have identified using Porter's 5 forces framework, which are competitive rivalry and substitutes. From its innovation potential, the proposed solution will allow GLBC to constantly cater to customers' ever-changing tastes, allowing it to stay ahead of their rivals. Also, by focusing heavily on its innovation capabilities since establishment, we believe that the experiences gained and systems put in place to encourage innovation can bring about tacit knowledge, making it difficult for rivals to replicate. Leveraging on its own innovation potential, GLBC can reduce the threat from its rivals. From its taproom building, providing tours of the historical site encourages customers to link GLBC to the iconic site, enhancing brand recall and increasing brand conversion. Marketing the bar as a one-of-a-kind experience allows GLBC to increase product differentiation and switching costs due to its unique location and dining experience. GLBC can use the 2 solutions in conjunction, leveraging on its taproom building to differentiate itself from other bars, reducing the threat from substitutes.
Apart from tapping the resources that provide sustained competitive advantage, GLBC can work on increasing the RINness of some of their current resources to gain an edge over their competitors. For customer experience, it currently provides GLBC with competitive parity. Our group believes that allocating resources to improve its RINness will work in their favor as it will differentiate them from their peers. GLBC can exploit clout with existing distribution channel and customer by creating a unique loyalty program. A tiered reward system with varying benefits can be adopted. For example, a Go member, one who makes multiple purchases from GLBC, can unlock rewards such as behind-the-scenes tour of GLBC Brewery and get exclusive insight into their operations. GLBC can tap on its other resources like taproom building, as mentioned by Dion earlier, to provide customers with an experience that is unique to GLBC. Dependent on their history and distinctive way of development as a result of their structural properties, beliefs, and values, such an experience is path-dependent. GLBC's long-standing history and experiences provide its people with skills, ideas, and experience that are unique to GLBC's operating structure and customers, providing it with tacit knowledge that they can tap into to create a unique customer experience. Those combined makes it nearing impossible and costly for rivals to replicate their customer experience. This solution also aids in exploiting stakeholders who are dependent on GLBC and mitigate the degree to which GLBC is dependent on other stakeholders. Unique loyalty program encourages existing distribution channel and customers to keep buying from GLBC, making it even harder for new entrants to erode their dominance over the craft beer industry in Ohio. Secondly, as mentioned, such an experience taps into path dependency and tacit knowledge of GLBC, which makes it extremely hard for new entrants to provide their customer with experiences on a similar scale. This will increase the barriers to entry, deterring them from entering the market. By addressing the impact of high forces, these solutions we propose directly aids in reducing GLBC's decline in market share and profitability. In summary, Porter's File identifies the dependency relation in the US craft beer industry, and VRIN analysis identifies key resources GLBC can leverage on to counter the high forces. Our broad-based solution leverages on resources that provide GLBC with sustained competitive advantage and improve the VRINness of existing resources. At the same time, this solution helped to lower 3 out of 5 forces, reducing GLBC's dependency on other stakeholders. Taken together, they directly help to reduce GLBC's decline in market share and profitability. We have come to the end of our presentation. Thank you, and we will now open the floor to questions.
Like and subscribe.